Nice. Should we move on to Blue Lock? Do a quick Blue Lock segment?
Yeah, you want to? How about you? Because I'm curious to hear from you here, Dan.
Yeah.
Because you've been such a big proponent of Blue Lock this season. Here I am watching every single minute of Dragon Ball Daima, and yet you're like, oh, I can't watch more than 15 minutes of Blue Lock.
Dude, it's painful. It's
not good. I know it's not good.
At least people move in Daima.
That's fair. This has got animation.
I can't believe...
I'll tell you right now, Dragon Ball Daima is better than Blue Lock this season.
I can't believe
We're talking about episode 3 of Blue Lock.
Yeah, episode 3 of Blue Lock. What happened? I don't know.
Soccer?
Isagi kicked it to a guy, and that guy was supposed to kick it back, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
That was a big twist of this episode. Dude, I can't believe what's happening here. No one's moving. There are no moving images in this animated TV show. It's all JPEGs sliding slowly. I can't look at another still image with a soccer ball slowly hovering over it another goddamn second.
You know what's crazy? Episode 3 is, I would say, like at least 2 to 3 times better than episode 2. In terms of animation, it is like episode 2 was probably the laziest 22 minutes of an anime episode I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This one, not much better, but the bar, like, I'm saying that was 1% effort. This is like 2 to 3 percent effort. So it's not like the bar is already like it's exponentially low, but this one was better.
Is this, and people are going to think we're yapping. People are going to think we're being insanely dramatic because this is a crazy scale.
I don't think there's very few defenders of season 2 of Blue Lock left.
Is this the worst animation you've ever seen in a show? Because I think it's the worst I've ever seen.
It's hard to even call animation.
That's the thing.
Art style wise, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like drawing, like looking at a drawing and being like, oh, that's a well-drawn drawing, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
In terms of the amount of effort put into it, the only things I would run against this, peak bad 7 Deadly Sins, and maybe the Rick and Morty anime.
Okay.
Because the Rick and Morty anime was like it physically pained me to look at. Like, yeah, there was movement, but it was like horrifically ugly.
Yeah, this is like they're like coloring in the storyboard.
Did you see some of the TikToks? They used the CapCut explosion on one of the kicks. There's a CapCut effect in the fucking. They also used a CapCut slideshow like peel. Dude,
what did they like? You know what? Because season 1 came out last year.
No.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
No.
It had to be.
No, I don't think so.
Do you think it was 2023? Actually, we're deep into 2024. It could have been 2023.
I think it was 2023.
It was one of the first things we talked about, and that was like 90 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's close to 2 years ago.
I wonder if it just like took longer. Like, I wonder if they were like it just wasn't enough time because they had to make a movie.
True.
And so I wonder if they like just legitimately were just like crushed
if the movie
for time.
just fucked them, if they're just like, we have to make an hour and a half well-animated film. That's the thing. We should watch the movie to see if it's like more of the same shit or if it actually looks good.
Well, because like art style wise, it's very detailed.
Yeah.
Like it is a high quality.
It's a well-drawn anime.
Well, but that's the thing is it's like compare it to like most other like, you know, anime coming out right now. Like if you compare it to like a still image of Blue Lock to a still image of like JJK and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The still image of Blue Lock like is more detailed. It's more difficult to make move. So I wonder if it's that, if like their art style just kind of caught up with them where they're like, this is too hard to make everyone move at this caliber.
So there's a couple of moments in this episode, in episode 3, where we do genuinely see like they're literally all they need to do. And this is like, I brought it up last week with Crook No Basket. Like all you need to do is like, you can overlap the conversations while playing movement. And they don't need to like, they genuinely, it doesn't need to be realistic. Like the fields can be infinitely long. They can be running for a long time. But if you're just going to show a actual JPEG and then blur the background, like it's like peak worst Bleach, like that was like when I dropped Bleach, is when I realized that they were doing basically this. And I was like, I'm not gonna, like somebody would get hit and then they would just like have, like, oh, and then they would just blur the background. And I was like, this is stupid. I'm gonna read the manga. They can just, if they literally just do this, I'm fine. Like as long as their arms are pumping and they're moving and like you're like having this like the background move behind them, that's it. And that feels like not asking for too much.
I know, it is just soccer at the end of the day.
Like that's the thing, in like
I just
soccer
need them
fields,
to run and kick.
What's fucking crazy is soccer fields are huge.
Yeah.
Like literally massive. Like so much bigger than American football fields, like actually huge. The amount of time that they should be running and the way that you could use that to build out while the conversations is happening is an absolute layup.
Yeah.
But because they're like, hey, we're playing on these tiny courts and like we need people to be able to like they literally they go across the entire field in like 5 seconds flat. And it's like, one, that's not realistic unless they're playing on tiny fields, and two, that's fucking you over.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, they're at this end and now they're at that end, and it needs to happen in 5 seconds, so they need to pause every single step.
Yeah. I wrote they simply don't know how to use the puzzle piece symbolism anymore.
Because his cheek is like falling apart, and then it's like,
and then it comes back in, and it's like they're just doing it randomly now.
Yeah.
And it's so overdone. Anytime it cuts to Isagi this episode, he's losing his pieces.
Yeah. It's like his pieces are falling apart, and then it made sense last episode where he was like, oh, he's the one piece, like he's gonna get the 2 top players to work together. That made sense. And then like this entirety of episode 3 revolves around him being like, I can't see, think, and then move. I need to like do all those things simultaneously and go off instinct here. And then like it's just like his entire cheek is gone. And then but like they're using it as like a good thing. He's like, oh, I'm locked in now. But I will say, this episode did get me a little bit fired up. This episode reminded me of why people enjoy Blue Lock, because it's like, even though the animation is fucking bad, it is fun. It is a fun episode. Like, it's like Isagi is trying to click into the team. He's like, oh, there's like the entire like mental dialogue of like, oh my God, he didn't pass it back to me. And then there's the end of the episode, which, you know, spoilers, Isagi scores the 5th and final goal, which gets which gets his team to win the match.
Yeah.
And that was kind of dope. I do love, my favorite thing about Blue Lock is when Isagi hits a big old kick and it does a big old goal. And that, I am a simple-brained person. And there's a couple of moments in this episode where there's real actual animation. But what I want to talk about is when they want to move, you know, when they want to like display what's on the, like where everybody's position is.
Yeah.
And they just put little chibi versions of them.
Yeah.
And then they draw little arrows to them. That is... like, it's not bad animation because it does a good job of establishing where everybody is, but it is the laziest way. That's probably how they do it in the manga, right? That's like, because that's something you would do in a manga. You would show little chibi versions. You could absolutely do that in a different way in the anime. Like, you could just like punch. You could show everybody on the field. You could punch them in. You could like show everybody on the field. Put little arrows over their heads or something. Like, there's so many ways you could do it. That and the game pieces moving across the board is just the laziest animation. That they're just being like, oh, well, we're gonna show you how everyone's moving. Yeah. And they're just dragging a gray fucking play piece across the board.
I know. They don't have time to animate a dude kicking a ball. You think they have time to get creative
they don't have
with
time
it?
To animate a ball going into the goal.
I know.
He kicks it, and then the next thing you see is literally the ball in the goal.
It's just insane. It's insane the amount of time that will pass before anyone moves other than like their lips.
Yeah.
It's like literally I was like 8 minutes in and I was like, no one's moved. No one has moved outside of like their little still image, like slowly moving.
Yeah.
I think it was like 11 minutes in. I finally got somebody like ran up to Isagi and put his hand on his shoulder. Yeah. And I was like, this is like, I'm being insulted right now.
Episode 2 is probably the worst animated episode of anime I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched all of Seven Deadly Sins. Like it's nothing.
So tough.
It's a webtoon trailer. Like, whoever said that was fucking spot on.
Well, it's tough because like this show needs good animation for me.
Because it is just soccer.
Because it's soccer. Yeah. Like, that's what sucked me in season 1 is everyone's a psychopath. But now people are starting to work together.
Yeah.
And we're like, we got rid of like half the characters I knew.
Yep.
And we're meeting new ones who are kind of nicer or just bored.
Yeah.
So you don't have that edge anymore. And the animation was good. Now... we lost the characters. The animation's bad. I'm just watching fake soccer.
Yeah. Fake, slow, choppy soccer.
Yeah.
So, are you going to watch next week's episode?
I don't know. If you really make me.
I'm going to watch the next episode of Daima.
But that's better.
It is better.
That gives us stuff to talk about.
Do you think Blue Lock is the worst? Do you think that's the worst thing that's come out this year?
No, because I saw the Gundam show.
Okay. We can talk about that.
But is it the worst thing that's come out this year? Yeah. After episode 2, I was ready to drop it.
Do you think it's worse than, what was that show with the Power Rangers? that just
Oh, Go-Go Loser Ranger? Yeah, we made it to like episode 5 of that.
We went to like episode 7 of Go-Go Loser Ranger.
It's worse than that. It's worse than Suicide Squad.
Because Suicide Squad looks sick at times.
Yeah.
I mean, the fucking plot was awful, and basically everything about it was awful outside of the animation, but the animation was sick sometimes.
Yeah.
Fuck, is it the worst anime of the year?
I think
It's
so.
like literally one of the most anticipated IP, and like based off these first 3 episodes, it has a chance at being the worst thing of this year.
Because that's the thing is it's just boring. Like if it was bad, like Suicide Squad and Rick and Morty. Is it worse than Rick and Morty, would you say?
Ooh, is it worse than Rick and Morty?
I'd say yes.
I'd say no.
Here's the thing. If you were like, we got to keep watching Rick and Morty, it makes for great content. The TikToks are good, this and that. Like, I'd have watched all of Rick and Morty. I'd have watched all of Suicide Squad.
See, but the only reason you would have watched all on Rick and Morty is because you would have wanted to wait for the eventual payoff of what we thought was going to be the twist at the end.
No, like, I'm down to hate watch a thing.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I'd watch Suicide Squad knowing it's not going to get better if we just goof on it on the podcast. Blue Lock is so just boring to talk about. It's just going to be us every week being like...
Soccer
happens and nobody moves.
I think the only thing that's giving Blue Lock a run for its money is Suicide Squad and the Rick and Morty anime.
I'd watch both of those to completion before I'd want to watch this.
I think I would watch Blue Lock above both of those things.
Interesting.
I actually, like, this episode kind of fired me up a little bit. Like I said, like, this episode reminded me of why I like Blue Lock. Like, the ending of the episode, I was like, that was kind of hype. Yeah. I love it when their eyes light up with fire. I love it when you get a big goal. Yeah. Like, I'm a Haikyuu apologist. Like, so I enjoyed that. It makes me physically uncomfortable watching this because the entire time I'm, like, thinking about fan animations I've seen on TikTok. One person, mind you, I'm gonna show you a fan animation. And this is, like, one person animating 30 seconds of Blue Lock, and it looks good. I go beyond that. It looks great. Like, and this just like kind of shows you here. Just watch this. Like, this is what it like. That's one person with a fucking iPad showing what it could look like.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that they can't dub voice lines over this.
Well, I mean, this is also in black and white and has like 1/8 of the detail.
Of course it does 1/8 of the, but that's also one person who's been doing that for a week. We're talking about a several $million company with dozens of editors. We're talking about Bandai fucking Namco.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for Bandai Namco, like, cheaping out this hard. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That reminded me of why I like Blue Lock. Like, that shit's hype.
Dope as hell. All right.